It's a new year, 2025, and that's the astrologer's job to look up at the sky and get the weather report and give you a forecast. There's no question there's going to be a collective shift, and you're going to see why in just a moment, that all the outer planets are leaving Earth and water and they're going into fire and air. And that is a transition because think Earth and water, stability. It's got the stableness of Earth, but it's got the water of the flow. Then fire and air is like when you add air to the fire in the fireplace and it gets all bigger and more escalated. So while it's been earth and water for the last, I'm going to say 10 years, Pluto was in Capricorn, we've been solid. It's just entering a new era. So let me give you the date so you can see. Saturn from January 2025 through May is going to continue being in Pisces. That's been going on for 2.5 years. What is Saturn but our collective life lesson? So we've been in this very mystical, magical world for 2.5 years, talking a lot about altered medicine, talking a lot about spirituality and mysticism, giving words like microdosing. This has all been a symptom of Saturn and Neptune being in Pisces for the last few years. Then we have Uranus entering Gemini. So for the last 7 years, Uranus was in Taurus and it upset the financial structure and our sense of security. And we started talking about AI, and there's been this introduction of new concepts. Uranus is still in Taurus. It's going to be there from January to July, and this is the very end of an era where our financial structures and our interest rates and our feeling of security for the last 7 years has been scary. It's going to enter Gemini in July. So 2025, in the summer onward, when Uranus enters Gemini, it opens up new thoughts. It reduces our obsession with security, and it starts to have us thinking about AI and intellectual technology and understanding the nature of this world. Rather than feeling like we were trying to get safe, we're now opening up our minds. So that's going to occur when Uranus enters Gemini in July 2025. Then Neptune has been in Pisces and will continue to be from January to April. This continues the old story. Neptune being in Pisces was a very dreamy, again, echoing our fascination with mysticism and magic and angels and believing in past lives. And notice how much the collective has accepted the fact that even astrology is of interest and mediumship and near-death experiences. When Neptune dips into Aries, which is March 30th to October 21st, after being in Pisces since 2013, we enter once again the Neptunian magic enters into a fire sign saying, let's get the show on the road. We're not just going to be dreaming. We're going to have that show up in real life form. Neptune dips into Aries March 30th to October 21st after being in Pisces since 2013, but it stays in Aries to 2039. So think about that. It's been there since 2013 to 2025. That would be 12 years. It's going to leave Pisces, Neptune, after being all of this dreamy, mystical, and enter into Aries to 2039, which is Neptune, the energy of mysticism, entering fire. Like, make this real. Could it be ETs that arrive before 2039? Could it be the entrance of Neptune showing up with fiery transitions that wake us up? And last, Pluto will be in Aquarius. It starts in January 2025, and it's going to last until 2043. So we have a long era where Aries starts to affect Neptune, and then Pluto starts being affected by Aquarius, and then Uranus starts to be in Gemini. All of these signs, if you think about Aquarius, Aries, Gemini, it's electrical, it's activation, as distinct from the last 10 years where we were settling down but feeling very scared. The fear factor that lives in the zeitgeist for the last, let's say, 10 years, but especially the last 2.5 since Pisces has had Saturn visiting it and Neptune, has had us all wondering, is something wrong? Is something going off? Do we not feel safe? Because Pisces is such a dreamy, energetic, but when it enters Aries and it enters Gemini and it enters Aquarius, it's going to be very obvious that change is afoot, changing of the guards, not having the old reality that our grandparents grew up with. And then we have to know how to finally find our comfort, find our stability. And that's why you study astrology. That's why I'm here. So I'm going to go through all 12 signs for 2025. This is the transition year. It's kind of like being on a trapeze where you're waiting as you let go and you're waiting for the next handle to come by. We're in 2025, a transitional year where we're letting go of an old system. We're getting ready to grab the new one. And in the transition this year, for all of us, we're going to be able to feel the excitement, less fear, more enthusiasm, especially if you are someone that loves adventure or you love when things go off. If you're the person that loves comfort, that would have been 2024. Jupiter was in Taurus, Saturn was in Pisces, Pluto was still in Capricorn. That's not what's occurring now. So I'm just giving heads up. There's an increase of voltage. The frequency is increasing, and it's going to require us to adjust our mindset about how we see reality. I want you to make a note. There's some Mercury retrogrades coming up in 2025. You want to write these down. March 15th to April 7th, Mercury is going to be going backwards. Also, July 18th to August 18th, Mercury is going backwards. And November 8th through Turkey Day of 2025, Mercury is going backwards. So those are 3 dates to pay attention, and we're going to go through what signs are being affected. I also want you to write down the eclipses, because the eclipses, while they come twice in 1 month, there's 2 of them. There's a full moon and a new moon, and a full moon and a new moon. Each of these eclipses are markers for a big change. So the first one is March 14th. I want you to write that down. That's a total lunar eclipse. It's at 23 degrees Virgo. The second one is March 29th. That's a new moon, which means it's a double Aries, and it's a partial solar eclipse. So remember March 14th, March 29th, and then we're going to go to September. September 7th is a full moon, a total lunar eclipse at 15 degrees Pisces, and September 21st is a new moon, which means double Virgo, and it's at 28 degrees Virgo. So any of those numbers, if you're a beginner baby astrologer and you have, for example, your sun's at 28 degrees Virgo on the 21st this year, it's an eclipse on your sun, that would be worthy for you to stop time and go get a reading. Eclipses are simply markers for significant influences, but it's important to find out where in your chart it lands, and that requires usually a professional to look at it. And there you have it. That's what 2025 has in store for you, for us. But here's the thing. Knowing your personal forecast is just the beginning. I'm inviting you to join me in a free journey, starting with what we call the Elemental Challenge. It's a collection of people talking about each of the elements from their personal experiencing, and then challenging you to do the same. It's taking place in December. The good news is we also have an astrological immersion, and that takes place in January. Both these events are opportunities for you to learn about 1, the elements, and 2, the nuts and bolts about astrology. These 2 experiences are more than just standalone events. They're stepping stones that I've designed to support you in the new year. There's nothing like learning a lifetime story from someone who's used the elements or their charts to get them to the next level. Now you go to elementalchallenge.com to reserve your spot. And remember, it's all free. I want you to really fall in love with astrology and the elements, and I'm hoping you'll be with us. Join us.